I'm going to show you how to tune an electric guitar. Let's get started. The first thing you want to do if you have a guitar like this with a locking nut is you want to get yourself an Allen wrench and unlock these three bolts right here, these nuts. I'm going to grab my Allen wrench here, and it looks like this. I'm going to unlock these three nuts here. And don't take them all the way out, just loosen them. So that you can loosen them by hand, but don't take them out. Just loosen them up good. And then grab your pick. I'm going to want to use that so I can tune this better. Now, the easiest thing is if you don't have that, right? If you don't have a locking nut, all you have to do is deal with these tuning heads here. So you want to know your letters. The letters start from here: E, A, D, G, B, E. Some people use a acronym to remember this, and it is Eddie 8 Dynamite Goodbye Eddie. So a little trick to remember which string you're on. That way when you look at your tuner, you can match the letters up. So the tuner I'm going to use is an app, and it's a guitar toolkit. I like these clip-on tuners. This one I'm using here is the Peterson Strobo tuner. And this is actually pretty awesome. Strobe tuner, I'm sorry. It's very accurate and a clip-on, so it doesn't detect any room noise. If you got a bunch of people goofing off around you and you're trying to tune, that's pretty nice to have. So pick one of those up, or just use the app. But if you don't have a locking nut, just tune this up. Let's do that together first. Even if you do have a locking nut, we want to tune this first here, right? So let's do that. And for those of you that do have a locking nut, let's go ahead and set these tuning pegs here first. These are the fine tuners on the Floyd Rose bridge. And you want to set those, in my case I've got to leave this top one out because I have a D tuner for drop D tuning. But these other ones, I don't want to have them all the way out, right? Which would be counterclockwise or all the way up. I want to have them just a little bit down to give me some room to come down with the tuning after I tighten this stuff up. So just don't have them all the way loose, just tighten them down a little bit. So I'm going to do that with all these here. And that way we can get a nice retuning done on this guitar here. Alright, there we go. So, for those of you that have that set up first, and then go down here and do the tuning. And if you don't have that, just do the tuning, obviously. And now let's tune this top string to an E note. And I want to start low on this. For you guys, if you're not sure where your tuning is, let's say you're a little bit lost, you can't tell where the sound of it is, just loosen the string. Just go low, right? Don't tighten it and make it higher. Just go looser. And then once you know that it's loose and you're sure that it's lower than where it's supposed to be, then start tightening it up and watch it on the meter here, and just bring it up to an E. And just bring it up slowly. Let the string ring. Alright, and that's pretty good. It's going to bounce around there, especially since I'm using the microphone on this particular tuner. You've got room noise and things like that. That's why the clip-on is so nice, is you don't pick up room noise with that. But let's move on to the next string here. We've got the A note. And once again, drop down if you're not sure where it is. Make sure you're low enough. That way you don't break your string. And then start to tighten it up. Bring it up slow, let it ring. And that looks pretty good. Let's go to the next string. The fourth string is a D note. And again, bring it down low and check, see where you are if you're not sure. If it was already close like mine, obviously just tune it up to pitch there and make it good. But if you're not sure, to go down low like this. Alright, there we go. The third string should be a G note. And let's bring it up. And that looks pretty good there. Alright, the second string is a B note. And that's already good, but let me bring it down so you can watch me walk it up. Okay, it's low. Let's walk it up. All right, that looks pretty good there. Okay, this next string, the first string is an E note. All right, and that looks pretty good there. All right, for you guys that don't have a locking nut, you're done. You're all set. You're all tuned up. Rock and roll. For you guys with a locking nut, now we need to grab our wrench and lock these 3 nuts down. Now I want to make a clearer point about this. Don't tighten these too much. If you over tighten these nuts, you can mess up your hardware. I did this early on when I was unaware of how to do this on one of my early Jacksons, and it's never quite been the same. I was always cranking it down too hard, and it caused problems with this nut. So then, you know, I'd want to replace it, frankly. So you don't want to do that, especially if you get a nice new guitar. Just snug it down a little bit. You don't want it to be loose, but don't crank it with all your muscle. All right, and then the same thing with these other 2. Just make it nice and snug. All right, and the last one here. All right, that's good enough. All right, now that we've got that snugged down, we're going to use these fine tuners here, and clockwise is what makes the pitch go up. Counterclockwise makes the pitch go down. We should be pretty good here. Let's test it out with the E note. So that's pretty good. And on this guitar, like I said, I've got a little different setup with the D tuner, so I won't mess with that too much. But if you had to tune that on yours, just adjust that fine tuner there a little bit to get that to lock in. Now to the A string. I'm going to turn mine clockwise just a little bit here to get that to fine tune. All right, now to the D string. Same thing, I'm going to turn it clockwise a little bit. Let it ring. Don't pick it a bunch of times. Some of my students, they'll be going, picking it like that. You'll never be able to tune it like that. You want to let the string resonate. So pick it and let it ring. All right, that's pretty close for now. The 3rd string is the G. All right, that's pretty good. Now another point comes to mind for me with these Floyd Rose bridges. Be careful when you're tuning that you're not kind of leaning on this and pushing it down, because it's spring loaded and it's going to make it go out of tune as you're tuning it. So don't push down with your palm or anything on this. Just keep your palm kind of off of that while you're picking the string. There's the B string now. And then the first string is an E. I'm going to turn that clockwise a little bit too. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm going to look at them one more time. I'm going to start at the 6th string again. The A string, the 5th string. String. And again, it's bouncing around because of the room noise in here. I've got the fan blowing. I can hear that up above me blowing down now. So on this, what you're seeing here, it's going to fluctuate. But if you use your clip-on tuner, you'll see it's not fluctuating so much. Alright, and that seems pretty good. And a lot of times I'll go to an E minor chord to test out the sound of all the strings combined and see if we're in tune, you know. And as you can tell on this guitar, this first string's got a little bit of a buzz. So I've got to work that out. It's some kind of an issue with the bridge, I believe. sounds pretty good. Maybe a G chord. Maybe we can get all 6 strings and get the sound of that. All right. And then if it was a little bit out of tune, this is a more detailed scenario, and maybe I'll go over that in another lesson, is to set the intonation. And that would be done at these saddle points here, these nuts on the saddle here. You would either make the string longer or shorter there in order to do a intonation of the string. And that would be necessary if, for example, you went up here to the 8th fret and you're tuning, or strumming a bar chord. If it sounds really out of tune there, then your intonation is off. And this guitar sounds pretty good there. But if it didn't, your intonation's off, and you'd have to figure out which one of these needs to be slid either a little bit forward or a little bit backward. So that could be a little bit more detailed. But if you're ready for it, it can certainly be done. I've done all of my own setups on those for years. It's not that hard once you figure out how to do it. Anyway, that's your basic tuning of an electric guitar. And I appreciate you watching the video, and give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next video.